Have screamed in terror that fine day. Saw that purple wig and did not know what to say. It left me sort of startled and confused. Red lips and white makeup and those big old red shoes. But my daddy tore a knot in me for being so damn rude. He said, son, don't you know that clowns are people too? Clowns are people too. Big red shoes. Clowns are people too. Don't be rude. If you weren't a bit lucky, then this could easily be you. I met your mom when she was up on that old trapeze. What can I say but hey, I had a thing for circus freaks. I started watching Bozo and warmed to the movie It. Killer Clowns from Outer Space to me was a big hit. Some people like McDonald's because of Mayor McCheese, but Ronald is my homeboy now and Krusty and Pinky. Clowns are people too. Big red shoes. Clowns are people too. Don't be rude. If you weren't a bit lucky, then this could easily be you. I met your mom when she was up on that old trapeze. What can I say but hey, I had a thing for circus freaks. Clowns are people too. Clowns are people too. Now I own some tiny horns and got me those red shoes. I don't know much but know one thing that's true. If you don't know anything, just know that clowns are people too.
Welcome to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Mad Dog's upstate raised and reared up near the tater patch. He flirted with that upstate team, now bleeds garnet and black. It's been almost 2 decades since JC started Big Spur. He may live outside of Chicago, but he's all Spartanburg. It's the show, the Gamecock Show. ITG, Phil and JC, it's the show. It's fun and entertainment, but also information, things you cannot get on radio. It's the show. Gather around all you Gamecocks, it's the show. The show, the show. Let's go. JC and Mad Dog Mully on the Gamecock Show.
Oh, welcome in, everybody. Shake off all that early Super Bowl lagginess and hangover in some places. I don't know. I only had one beverage last night, so I am not hungover. Unlike most people, even though it is National Recover from a Hangover Day, I heard on the morning show today. But if you missed it, Debbie F. Antonelli, Mike Morgan, and John Whittle all joined on the McKellar Enterprises guest line. Of course, the morning show. JC and Mad Dog in here with you to get you through lunch here and head off into your afternoon. Who all's taking a day off today who didn't have one originally? That's what I want.
Obviously, I'm not taking a day off.
No, yeah, we're here.
But I was, man. Yeah, I didn't. I pre-recorded coffee and got that up. Scheduled it yesterday. Got everything I normally do in the mornings done before
Yes.
we left. And we had to go pick up Nat's parents from the temple and bring them to their place. And I walked off and forgot my wallet.
Oh no.
On my way to the temple. So we had to come back here and then took a series of Ubers to the tavern, and heck of a game last night. It's kind of funny, Phil, because I was sitting there. I have not watched as much pro playoff football this year as maybe in years past. It seemed, I don't know, the games weren't as close. Does that make sense? And we had a streak there for a while where the NFL playoffs were just great. Maybe it's because college was going on still. And I kind of had to, I kind of had my attention elsewhere.
Right.
So I didn't, I've watched the Chiefs and I've watched the Eagles. Obviously, I've always been a big Jalen Hurts fan. And so I just decided to go with the Eagles. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what this feels like? And I hate to bring this up to our audience, but I'm going to anyway. It felt like the Clemson, Alabama game that when Trevor Lawrence won, they won it all. Remember, like they'd beaten Alabama 2 years before. Bama got them back in the Sugar Bowl in 2017, and Bama went on to win it. And then they met out in San Francisco, or the Santa Clara, if you will, wherever the 49ers play these days, at Levi's Stadium, and Clemson took it to them pretty good. And I was talking to a buddy of mine who is a Clemson fan yesterday. I was like, this kind of feels like right before the kickoff, it feels like that, like a similar type of setup where you have the dominant franchise and then you have a team that's won it before, but, kind of maybe doesn't get the respect or the notoriety of the Chiefs. And then the Eagles just took it to them. I mean, that's they got
it was, but you could see flaws in Kansas City all year long, but just and you gotta and you heard it all season long with the pundits and talking heads are like, we know how this ends. It's you're gonna end up getting bounced in the first couple of rounds or your first game, and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl until somebody just completely laid bare the insufficiencies of that Kansas City team this year.
I think that's how you beat them too, is you just leave no doubt. You just can't leave.
You can't keep it close. Yeah, it can't be tight.
Yeah, because they know how to win. I mean, we talk about certain teams not knowing how to win around here. I think the Chiefs know how to win, but the Eagles just clubbed them like a baby walrus.
Baby seal. Speaking of which, that was a wild commercial. If you caught that one,
dude, was that real? I guess obviously I'd get up and go to the bathroom during the commercials and stuff. It was loud. It was crazy, man. Like we got to the tavern about 4:15 and it was empty. It was just us. And of course we had our reserve seats, even though we're not as frequent as we once were. We've only been there like once in the whole month. It was the Friday night LSU played Carolina in women's basketball, and we just went up there to watch it for a while and left. But we had our reserve seats right there, kind of 50-yard line.
Nice.
Right in the middle of the bar. And all you can eat, all you can drink, one price. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a great deal they got out there.
Oh, that's not bad. It's not bad. I brought home some sliders myself for a snack later. So we're sitting there and all that. And then, man, like about 5 o'clock, 5:15, that you couldn't walk. It was that packed. So I'd kind of strategically make my way to the bathroom. So I didn't get to see the commercials, but I did see the Seal Mountain Dew thing on Instagram today. Obviously it was AI generated.
Right.
But I didn't know if it was real or not. And I was like, oh, this is just awkwardly terrible.
Yes, that was my impression of it. I was like, wow, look at that.
Dude, I
Is
remember that.
really strange.
That song was the emotional heart jam back in the 90s.
Yeah,
Remember
man,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. Now that I mean, that's an emotional tune, right?
Tied it to one of the Batman movies. I mean,
Yeah, bro. I mean, and I was like, now he's changed the lyrics all of it. He's singing like Mountain Dew, and he kind of looked like that Jordan. I couldn't tell whether it was Seal or the crying Jordan meme that they superimposed. Yes. And I was like, I looked at that and I was like, this can't be real. This is it's a real commercial. Apparently, I'm just finding this out now, Phil.
Yes, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then the Kanye commercial. I mean, can that dude get any weirder? I'm convinced it's the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at what's happened to all the men that have been in their lives.
Yes, it is. That never really ends well with them.
There's something about those gals that just have an effect on people. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, he's lost it. But I was like surprised. Yeah, man, I'm like, he's still got this. He's got enough money to where he can buy a commercial time during the Super Bowl and record it on an iPhone.
$8 million, man.
Yo,
that's all it
I'm
took.
Like, I thought they canceled this guy a long time ago. Like we're still here.
Even that, yeah. And anyway, of course, he, in the week prior, he had his. I guess, is that his wife? I don't know. Dressed in, essentially a cellophane wrapper going to the Grammys.
Like, all right. It's like there were centerfold shoots in Playboy when I was a kid that were
that revealed less
revealing than that. And I'm like, so I mean, it's like, I'm like, nowadays it's like you just do anything to maintain relevance. It's like, they talk about that. Some say our president does it. Just no, there's no such thing as bad news,
right? Or
that he has during his career as a celebrity and all that. And I think there's something to that. It's like, as long as the people are talking about you, it doesn't matter good or bad. But some of this stuff's just out of control. I mean, a poor Seal. I mean, Seal was a respected artist, dude. I mean, nobody said anything bad about Seal. And now, I mean, that's heartbreaking.
My first thought was, oh man, I can't believe Seal's having money problems.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, can we start a GoFundMe?
That's right. Do we need
Seal? I'm like, Cam says he quit watching after halftime. Kendrick Lamar told me to turn my TV off. Boy, I tell you, we've gone from like U2 and Michael Jackson and Prince, and then they had Snoop and Dre on, and then Kendrick Lamar. Ooh. Wow. And Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team lost. That's Clint just comes to I after I read this from the Nana Sports chat box. Cam Johnson. I got to remember to say that, like I said, because the people that are listening, if I'm just like, hey, they think somebody named Cam is actually sitting in the studio with us or something.
No, right.
Nana Sports chat box. After I read Kim say, I quit watching after halftime because of Kendrick Lamar, I was like, Clint is about to come in strong in the Nana Sports chat box with a classic, epic, blunt Clint take. The halftime show was awful. That's awful. Just rock and roll. I thought you kind of read my mind there, Clint. I was like, Clint's about to chime in. And sure enough, that halftime show was awful. Lance Player in the Nana Sports chat box is recovering after a 20-year high school reunion Saturday night at Dead Dog and then the Super Bowl. And he's like, man, I'm getting old.
Yeah, I caught some of the pictures on that on the socials. I was like, "Ooh, they're having a good old time on a Saturday. Look at that."
Yeah, my 30-year reunion's coming up.
Oh,
like the 20-year one, I remember going to that in 2015. It was the day of the South Carolina Georgia game that season, Steve Spurrier's last year. And me and my buddy sat there and watched it and just quit watching it after a while. I was like, well, I hadn't seen all these folks in a while. Good time to catch up because I'm not watching the rest of this. That was that 52-20 game when they made Grayson Lambert look like a Heisman candidate. That's like they got Kenny Hill by Grayson Lambert in that game. Spurrier was like, hard to believe we've beaten these guys 4 out of 5 years before now. I was like, yeah. Brian Schottenheimer, who is here's a quick fact.
Yeah.
That was Mark Rick's last year at Georgia, by the way. His OC was Brian Schottenheimer, and it went on, and he looked great. I mean, against Carolina. But as the season wore on, they were not happy with him.
No.
And he probably got Mark Rick fired, probably. So
he gets his redemption tour this year.
So it's been 10 years since Steve Spurrier. We come going on 10 years since Spurrier's last season.
Man,
20 since he was hired. Wow, time flies.
I know it sure does.
But so that was my 30-year reunion's coming up. They're a lot of fun. I mean, I'm glad I went. I didn't have any regrets going. I don't have like people that went to my high school, like in our class. It's kind of like we're veterans, like we survived. We all got this trauma bonding going.
Trauma bonding.
Burns High School in the 1990s. Burns in the 90s, man. I love the people I went to high school. I'm still friends with a lot of them. I mean, I'm proud as I can be being a Burns High graduate. Worst faculty. If there's a school in South Carolina that had a worse faculty than Burns High School in the 1990s, show me. and I'm not talking about everybody, because my man Bobby Bentley was on that faculty, and you guys know I have a lot of respect for Coach and all that. Not what universal, but man, you know how at schools sometimes, like high schools, most high schools, you'll have like 5 or 10 good teachers,
right?
And I won't miss so and so or Mr. So and so. That number was maybe 1 or 2 when I went to Burns.
Not very many that you were like, man, I hope I get this one on the schedule.
I am not the only. I mean, there is a small minority of people that probably don't feel that way, but most of us do. And Burns is, of course, a big school now. It's that area's grown, but it was still kind of small townish when I went there. But proud as could be, and looking forward to getting to the 30th if I can make it down. Right, Phil?
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's
be kind of fun. So yesterday's a big gambling day.
Yeah.
And I decided at the last minute to take the Eagles for the reasons I stated. Also, I was like, I can't pull against an SEC all-star team.
Essentially is exactly what they were up against.
Now, look, had I known they were going to burn the city down again in Philly,
well,
maybe I would have made a different choice based on principle. I mean, look, dude. Come on.
What'd the city ever do to you?
What did it do? I mean, like, you got the mayor sitting there, please don't climb up on light post. I have to say this every time. I'm like, good Lord.
I know.
I'm like, you should, I don't know. But hey, hats off. Philly has had some really great franchises and sports teams through the years. 76ers once were good. The Flyers have been good. The Phillies, obviously, we know from experiencing those folks with the Braves. And then, of course, the Eagles and hats off to their fans. I mean, that's the Eagles in my lifetime. I think they've been to 4 Super Bowls. They lost the first 2, and it looked like they were never going to, that they went through the McNabb era. I don't think they won one. And then lo and behold, Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts win 2 Super Bowls. And that Saquon Barkley, it was a great trade. I mean, he didn't light it up last night. I had a prop on him, Phil. So I'll tell you about my props.
Prop bets.
Yeah. And of course, gambling's legal in Illinois, where I'm at on the app. I have Caesars. This is for entertainment purposes only for those of you in the Palmetto State, of course, unless you get on cut.com.
Yeah,
and download
bet with your friends.
Yeah. And use the code to get a free bet. I don't know what the code is. Is it Gamecocks or Tailgate Talks? It's Tailgate Talk.
Promo code Gamecocks.
Gamecocks for us.
Promo code Gamecocks.
And they, of course, are a sponsor here. They sponsor Pat and Steven's Tailgate Talks podcast as well that you get on the Chief Sports app. But anyway, I'm going through my prop bets. I had Jalen Hurts scoring the first touchdown of the game.
Oh, that was a good choice. Yeah.
I knew it was going to be my night because, again, I got up to navigate my way to the bathroom after they scored on the pass. Oh, no, he was out at the 1. And so I'm walking back around the corner, and Hurts is scooting diddly-ooting in the end zone. I'm like, winner, chicken dinner. So like 47 bucks on a $5 bet. I of course took the Eagles money line, and I took the points.
Yeah.
I did have the under, so I lost that. But I had Hurts winning the MVP.
Oh, yeah, there you
So,
go.
I
Yeah.
got a bunch of money for that. And I had a really good one on the app. They had squares, you know. How you do the squares. By the way, shout out to Bobby Patterson, who from Charleston or Savannah or wherever he lives, Savannah, Charleston. He lives.
I think Bobby Savannah, right?
He's from Charleston, but he lives in Savannah. That's
right.
Shout out to my man. He texted me at about 5 and said, "You and Nat want in on our squares?" And I'm like, "Give me your Venmo, my friend." Yes, of course. Do I want in on the squares? So Kreger chimes in with his prop bet. He needed Barkley to score a touchdown for $165. And he's like, "How about no? Not." Oh, I would have done the same thing. I think I had a small prop on that because I started going through and betting $1 on everything. I won the coin toss.
Nice.
That was $1, and I won $1.90. Yeah, big spender for me. So I won it ended up being about $168. I was plus after the end of the night. So I was on a roll, but the heartbreaking thing was that score was sitting at 34-6 for a while.
Yeah.
And if the final score exactly had been 34-13, I would have won $4,000.
$4,000.
It's $4,000. And it on $10.
Nice.
And I was like, I was sitting there. I was like, could this just be my night? I mean, I did win the $1.90 on the coin toss.
Started with a win before the game even kicked off.
Lance Player, he and his mom, dude, there are not very many fine American people than Lance Player's mama. I had a chance to meet that woman at the Chief Sports tailgate before the Missouri game, and it was an honor.
Indeed,
it was an honor to meet her. I mean, just can't say enough good about Lance's mom. Can't believe we're talking about SEAL being an actual SEAL. High school reunions, bad teachers at Burns High School, and Lance's mom. The JC's prop bets. That was not on the script.
That's right. We totally went off.
But that's what you get on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
And that's why you're here.
Moments.
That's right.
It prevents us from having to talk about basketball in a segment later because we just move everything back.
That's right. Yeah, we end up bumping basketball takes.
I'm sitting here in my mind going, just get through this first one with a bunch of BS.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we don't have to talk. No, I'm just joking. I actually had a conversation with some folks about that. But Lance goes, he and his mom were lit after she won 150 on the third quarter.
Nice.
Nana Sports chat box. The llama has spoken, Phil, in the Nana Sports chat box.
That's right.
This is
Philly was going to get destroyed when
the
losers
llama,
were
just like Clint comes in with totally blunt takes, the llama will pop in with some wisdom. Philly was getting destroyed, win, lose, or draw.
Indeed. That's right.
Yeah, Clint does talk about Philadelphia's defensive line. It was fantastic. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, my stepson and I are just still mad at the Bears for trading up. So Philadelphia to get Darnell Wright.
Yep.
So Jalen Carter could go to the Eagles. I'm like, that's the best player in the draft. And you had a chance to get him and Roma Dunze. I mean, and you had to, what in the world?
I know.
I mean,
it was ridiculous. It was, I couldn't believe it.
And you got Montez Sweat on one side. You know, if you had Montez Sweat, I believe, at the time, if you're the Bears, maybe not, maybe that was the next year, but I mean, you got a D line with Montez Sweat and Jalen Carter on it. That's a pretty good start for the monsters of the Midway, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, at least you got a shot at getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, and basically, the final reason I took the Eagles last night is it's basically an SEC all-star team. I mean, if you think about A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, all those players from Georgia, players from Bama. Lance in the chat box points out UGA North defense, they should send Kirby a ring. Maybe. But certainly impressed with all that SEC talent. But you know, the SEC is not the best conference, Phil.
No, not now.
They
No,
don't have the best players
Yeah.
in the SEC, right?
no. Big Ten has taken over.
Now that they can't buy them anymore. Good God. You want to talk about a crazy narrative there. But yeah, obviously there was the Kanye commercial, obviously the Seal commercial. That's just I just can't even, I'm so beside myself about that
Yeah.
one. What else stood out about this? The halftime show was awful. Taylor Swift got booed. And then the fans in Philly just were yelling F Taylor Swift all night. I mean, I'm like, while they burnt things and climbed light poles and things of that nature.
They just gotta love it. Scorched earth over there, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, and Clint points out what the Super in the chat box again, another blunt take. I just hate what the Super Bowl has become. It's like the game itself is just an afterthought now. It is a big marketing extravaganza.
Yeah, it is.
But
it's the spectacle is what it is.
That's also why they pay so much money to televise it, because they sell even more in advertising. There's a profit margin there that's why the networks rotate it and pass it around, and why it's such a big deal to have it. But Kreger points out the Eagles defensive line got home with 4 all night. It was incredible. Yeah, that's so helpful. Isn't it amazing, guys and gals, how football kind of is simple at the end of the day?
Right.
If you can get pressure with 4, chances are your defense can have a pretty good day. And South Carolina this past year, that was a great thing about South Carolina's defense, because they didn't, now Clayton White he will not hesitate to send pressure. Don't get me wrong.
No,
he will get you with pressure. But a lot of times this year, Carolina was able to just get, with the front 4, and that obviously simple math. That means there's 7 dudes back there trying to stop instead of, giving the offense a numerical advantage. But that was a big part of the game. And Kreger, I love a good D-line game. I mean, it's through time. Talk about things that don't change since. I guess I became a believer in the D-line completely in about 1992. Miami was playing Alabama, and this was Alabama's only championship between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. Gene Stallings was the coach. Ellis Johnson was on that staff at Alabama. And they played the big bad Hurricanes in the Sugar Bowl. And boy, Bama's defense, their D-line got all over Miami. Same thing happened in 95 when Florida played Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl. And Spurrier got waxed by Tom Osborne's team. Florida couldn't stop them either that night. But it's amazing how that never changes. Same concepts these days, no matter how futuristic the offenses get, what kind of quarterback play you have, how talented the players are. It's get pressure with 4 and you're doing well.
Yeah. I mean, it
is
all about the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the numbers. Clint says, what do you guys think about the brotherly shove? Should teams be allowed to do that? I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
I go back and forth on it. I'm like, well, it should be, I don't know, because sometimes it doesn't work, but with them, it's just automatic. I think it's like just ingrained in that culture here. Now that Jalen Hurts is there, it's just this is what we're gonna do, and if they do outlaw it, I mean, is it just I don't know, because there's a gray area for me, JC, right? Like, can you not run a quarterback sneak when it's down in 1? You just can't do it on the goal line? Or
Clint says, he said it should be called the illegal eagle.
The illegal eagle.
The illegal eagle. I think you should have to gain yardage on your own accord. When you get 3 or 4 yards every time you do it, Cam says in the chat box, why run another play? But I agree, it's a snooze fest of a play.
Yeah, you just knew it, when they overturned it. I was like, well, this is going to be a touchdown, and you know what it's going to look like.
Yep. Hey, I won money off that.
Yeah, that's right. Worked out for
I
you.
snatched victory from the jaws of defeat because I was like, Brown. I mean, it wasn't Brown; it was Dotson. I guess caught the pass. And I was like,
Jahan
touchdown.
Dotson,
I was like,
mhm.
and then I'm looking at the rules of the prop bets. I'm like, well, Hurts threw it, so Hurts technically no.
It
Doesn't that doesn't count, you know? And then walking with the bathroom, walk back out, and I'm like, holy cow! I said. I said, well, they must have got a turnover or something. And then I saw the score and I was like, I'm into the money.
I'm in the money.
Cold hard cash. So Clint says it's smart for sure. It's pretty much indefensible.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty tough. Pretty tough.
It's it drives my wife crazy because my stepson's football team runs something we call the indignant play. And it's where the O-line gets set and then they snap up and look to the sidelines and they look like three amigos when they do it, the hands on the hips.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And when the head coach drives me crazy because he's kind of a low-key dude, right? Loves defense, doesn't mess with offense, never gets fired up about offense unless that play. Like, this is his favorite play. I'm like, well, that's not really you're acting there. I mean, we have enough fakeness and acting in football as it is. Why is that? But he gets crazy about that play. So I guess the shove is similar to the indignant play. We can start. My wife calls it the indignant. She's like, "Don't be indignant.
Don't be indignant."
Yeah. Hey, they got one of the kids moved his feet and it backfired on them one time. They got called for illegal procedure. So I don't know. That's
about the only way you can stop that, I mean, is hope somebody moves early.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, it's like, and it's so hard for these high school guys too. Like, they're not exactly the most disciplined defenses here in Northern Illinois. They jump every single time. I mean, it's like clockwork. So I'd probably try to like I'd be running all kind. I would have somebody yelling out in German.
Yes.
Blitzkrieg. I'd have guys like all the defense moving and stuff, and I would not put up. Even if I had to overload one side with like 7 guys and blitz off that edge.
Yeah, right.
Like
it's just bring it around.
Quarterback slow, which he is. I'd have. Well, one of the quarterbacks was slow. One of them definitely was. I would be like, somebody will catch him.
Yeah. Somebody will come around and get him.
I would not go down to the indignant play.
No.
All right, folks. If you're maybe struggling today after a Super Bowl party yesterday, I want to start feeling good. I've been doing this. My friend Mike Morgan, who's on the show, and JC and Morgan and all that, hooked us up with this company, EncapsulateUSA.com, Magic Mushroom Composite Health. I've not been one to ever take supplements, right, Phil?
Right. No. Yeah. Me either, really.
Not really. And I got these and I was out of some medication. I was like, well, heck, I'll just see if these work. And they do. You think clearly, all that good stuff.
Doesn't sound like there's a drawback to that at all.
No. And so I was just listening to the music.
I know. Yeah.
I can't believe this is all.
It's a good day for this.
Go to encapsulateusa.com. Use code JCM to get $10 off free shipping on orders over $60. Encapsulateusa.com. Code JCM. Start feeling better right now with their supplements. We'll be right back on Inside the Gamecocks Show after these messages.
Hey, this is Cornbread Cowboy, and you're listening to the show. We'll be right back.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more. Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products and out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks! Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say, and so does nationally recognized the Barndominium Company, where they are building dream homes in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Their turnkey process can be custom designed and takes 6 months on average. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. Thebarndominiumco.com.
Welcome back, everybody, inside the Gamecocks The Show. JC Shurburtt, Phil Mad Dog Mullinax in with you to get things kicked off. Just sitting there looking at the barn. Every once in a while, JC, and this isn't just, being a good partner with the Barn Dough Co. I just go in there and look at the barn doughs and the designs and the layouts and floor plans, and I'm like, oh man, these really would be nice to have. And then you see what some people have done with them online, and I went down a real YouTube rabbit hole with it, because there's plenty of people who have purchased these and are setting them up, and man, they look really nice.
I mean, Nat talks about them all the time.
Yeah, Dina's already got one she likes. She's got a preferred layout.
A preferred layout.
It was like, oh yeah, I like this one. Yeah, like, oh,
outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's they're good. It's good, and like a couple of our listeners actually have gone through the process and purchased a barn dominium.
Awesome.
Get some land somewhere and get clean country living. Is there a way? Okay, so I'll ask this to the chat box. Is there a way to keep snakes out of your yard? We've had this discussion, Phil. Is there anything that can be done in South? Because, all right, one of the good things about Illinois, no snakes, no poisonous snakes. That is, there's rat snakes and corn snakes and things like that. There's no poisonous snakes in Illinois unless you get down toward Kentucky and Missouri and all that. I guess it's too cold for those demonish vipers around here. I hate snakes. I'm like Indiana Jones. I just can't stand snakes. I just hate snakes. I just and I'm kind of wondering, if I build a barn dominium, how am I going to keep the snakes out? Because I ain't dealing with it. I've never had it my whole life. And it's probably because I've lived in condos and now I'm here where there's no snakes. And, the houses I've lived in, no snake, not a lot of snakes. Tennessee, there's snakes, but not in the part I live in a housing development, right? No snakes. But out in rural South Carolina,
you're going to run into
some snakes. I remember that there was an exhibit at the State Museum for a while. It was like a backyard.
Yeah.
It's like, can you find the snakes? And I was like, I sat there and counted 7, 8 snakes, and they're chilling, and you couldn't see it. And I have nightmares about that.
Right.
And I can't.
They do camouflage
snakes.
well. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bruin's
right though.
Cats.
Yeah, cats are good for making sure you don't have rodents or snakes.
Oh. We have a dog and a turtle.
Yeah.
And one of our and we have geckos, like Nat's ex-husband unfortunately passed away last April, was the kid's dad, and the kids have had these geckos, SpongeBob and Johnny. So we inherited these guys.
Johnny.
And So SpongeBob's sick. He's got something wrong with his mouth.
Oh,
And so we're calling the exotic vet, right? It's Chicago. There has to be,
there's
come on.
right. Yeah.
Well, there is, but these aren't really veterinarians, dude. They're not doctors. They're maintenance people, because you can't get in for a month to see the vet. The exotic vet.
They're booked up for a month.
He only works till noon.
Where's the
every day.
exotic urgent care? He only works.
Where's the urgent care for geckos? And I'm like, well, you're not really treating sick animals if it takes a month to get in.
Right.
You're just maintaining them.
Well checks only. That you're just maintaining them. Mhm.
Oh, I mean, dude, human doctors these days are getting bad about that too. I got to deal with these people at my doctor's
Speaking
office.
of which, oh geez,
yeah,
good
it's
luck.
crazy. But Tri-State rolls. I want to get a barn dough in Spring Island.
Hey, yeah, nice.
And he's had the flu. Oh, by the way, some people have been sick. Tiffany says, "What up, fellas?" Nana Sports Chat Box had the stomach flu last week and it took me down. Tri-State's had the flu.
Yeah, it's been rough up here too. Fortunately, we finally had a weekend where nobody was sick this weekend. It's been 2 weekends, so
I think the kids had the sniffles. Like there was a cold in the house this week. But what? It takes a hell of a cold to slow me down.
Right.
I'd almost rather be sick than hungover, though.
Yeah, true.
Believe it or not, I hate being hungover. God, not hungover today though, and that's why coffee was pre-taped this morning, because there's a direct correlation between sleeping in and how hungover you actually are. So I look back at college. I'm like, how did I function?
It's amazing what our more resilient younger selves could take.
I would just get up like it was nothing and have a headache and go to class, do whatever, go grab some McDonald's. I'd fall asleep at 6 o'clock that night, probably.
Yeah,
I made it through the day, so I couldn't imagine doing that now. But anyway,
no.
Clint says they have snake repellent at Lowe's and Home Depot. He has no idea how well it works. So repellent, cat.
Know.
All right, so I got to get that before I get my barn dominium. All right, so we're gonna get back on track. Okay. So, all right. I've seen, okay, so I don't know exactly. Bet Online, Vegas Insider. I don't know where the source. Vegas Insider kind of pools a lot of different, I guess, odds together. So I don't know what the casino or lines makers are, but Phil, the over under win totals, which are always a point of discussion.
Yes.
Around South Carolina and elsewhere, out. And again, this is just one opinion from one place. South Carolina's over under is 6.5 for 2025. Same as Florida. Tennessee 9, Georgia 10.5, Texas 10, LSU 8. Thought it was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far I didn't know that Tennessee was. Do they have high expectations next year?
Well, I think, because I was looking at the numbers, some of this looks like it's the schedule baked into it, right? Because you're just basically flipping the venues on the conference slate. So if you fared well, assuming that the teams you played against aren't going to make a massive jump, then that's kind of what I feel like this has in it, right? I mean, Texas and Georgia, obviously at the top, that makes sense. They seem to be the two best teams in the SEC. And then behind that, I mean, when you look at Tennessee's schedule, JC, it's again another favorable year for them to have a good year.
I say, I'm trying to think. So they'll play Oklahoma in Knoxville. They'll play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. They'll play Georgia in Knoxville. They'll play Vandy in Knoxville. God, who did they play on the road? They got to go to Kentucky and they got to go to Mississippi. Oh man,
yeah, Mississippi State, Alabama, Kentucky, Florida. So Florida comes late too. So you don't know that might be a pretty damn
game's
Florida
late.
team. Yeah, it's Well, they don't have the exact week, but it is the 11th game on their schedule. It's the game before the Vandy game.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
They
very
slid
late.
the Florida-Tennessee game to late November next year. I was
Normally you get that early, right? Yeah,
I was not aware of that, Philip.
I was not. No,
Goodness gracious. But that's not, when your two toughest road games are and then they got Syracuse in Atlanta. The
Yeah.
Vols come, they're playing Saturday. So it'll be Tennessee and a lot of orange in Atlanta because Virginia Tech's maroon and orange.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the garnet and black versus a bunch of orange in the ATL that first weekend. I cannot wait for that weekend, Phil. We're going to have so much fun.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Well, there's going to be stories to tell.
I'm
that
excited.
weekend. I'm excited. I may not go anywhere until then. I may forego all vacations.
Just right. Yeah.
Outside of business trips, go nowhere and just save and just blow it all that weekend at the Claremont Lounge
that might not be
on retired strippers.
That's right.
Jeez, this place. Dina's going to love that place, by the way.
I can't wait.
And Johnny's Hideaway. I mean, y'all, if there were two places on earth for Miss Dina Hall Mullinax to thrive in a bar scene, and they don't have karaoke. There's no karaoke at either place. And so karaoke is kind of a different category.
Right. Oh, yeah.
When all of us get together. But it's Johnny's Hideaway in Claremont Lounge. I mean,
Nice.
you just couldn't pick out a better spot. It's I don't want to overhype it though, so don't tell her I said that because I don't want to overhype it. I'll be disappointed if she's disappointed, and I don't think I can handle that.
I don't know. Oh, I can't handle this level of pressure.
Back to the Nana Sports chat box, and then we'll talk about the over-unders for Carolina. Want to appreciate, thanks, Clint. Clint says those coffee episodes are perfect for my morning rides.
Yeah, man.
Take my son to Wade Hampton and then work. I try to get it up at least by like 8:15-ish on Eastern time. Keep in mind I'm in Central, so I've got to get up even earlier to get it done. I usually tape it around 4:30, 5 o'clock my time, and then it takes a little time for me to get it from my studio computer over to my editing computer, and then I upload it. I do the podcast version first. I upload it for you folks that are in the car, and then YouTube comes up after that. YouTube takes a little more time because there's graphics and stuff. But Krager says today's coffee was great. Yeah, the topic you can get that on our YouTube channel. By the way, I broke down the 5/20/26 commits so far. South Carolina sitting at 16 in 24/7 sports rankings. I don't care.
Don't care
about the rankings this early, team rankings this early, and we should all know that because I think South Carolina was outside of the top 40 for a long time, and people brought it up, and it drove me crazy that they did. Oh, we're 51st. You only have 3 commits, dude.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right.
And then everybody just kept going up in the rankings. It was very different than what normally happens.
Mm-hmm.
Which players will commit to South Carolina and either drop or just plateau.
Yeah, and just like, well, that's it. You just put a full stop on their ascension, and here it is.
Yeah, I mean, so I talked about all the 5 commits that they have, and look, man, they got, like I said on coffee, they got 5 commits right now, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them are in-state players, 2 are out of state. Dyer and Britt. Dyer visited Georgia. He's from Gwinnett.
Yeah.
Keenan Britt's been flirting with Florida a little bit. So who knows if they'll end up being members of the class when all said and done, but it is a heck of a start. And Clint says in the chat box, he's really excited about the 2026 class. At least as we stand in February, it could be the best class of the Beamer era. I've felt that it had the chance to be that way just because there's more players in the state,
Mm-hmm.
and that usually means something. Plus, you're kind of in year 5 of a coaching staff, and a lot of these coaches have been here for a while, especially on defense. And the longer you're at a place, the better you can recruit.
Yeah, there's
a lot of factors at play these days with money and transfer portal and everything else, but those relationships you build and stability still sells on that. So it could be good. And then if you consider that, if you consider that 2 of the best players that were originally slated for the 2026 class, Phil, Gidron, and Murph
Yeah.
are already Gamecocks.
That's right. They're already there.
Murph will be there in June.
Well, yeah, that's
but
true.
he's
Yeah,
already
he still
signed,
hasn't
sealed, delivered.
graduated. Yeah.
So you're almost coming into this cycle as +2 with that, because you got those two guys, and they would be top 3 in the state, top 4 in the state right now. Clint mentions Polo Anderson, assuming he would be a Clemson guy, but it sounds like the Gamecocks have a real shot. They do. I think it's one of those, but is it going to be? I mean, will it be like Marquis Anderson? I don't know if those two are related. They're from the same high school, Dorman, Polo. But I don't know. He had a really good visit to Clemson. I'll say that. I am more concerned. If he goes to Clemson, then it's a Clemson kid going to Clemson from a Clemson school. And it should, order is restored at Dorman High School, I guess. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. And I think he could do big things at either school. But when you're talking about kind of defending it, Tamarian Watkins, to me, that's the dude at Northwestern in Rock Hill. Another 6'4", 215-pound safety. And you've already got Jazavian Currents, 6'4", 215 committed, who's the top player in the state from South Point. I mean, you get those three. There's three. I mean, Polo is he's about a 6 foot, 185-pound guy, normal size for a safety, but he's just a great player and a great athlete. And then you go with those two freaks. I mean, that's a crazy secondary. Keep in mind, I don't remember if Torian Gray coached Cam Chancellor and Jimmy Williams, or was that Whammy when he was at Virginia Tech? But there's a track record with kind of the roots of this secondary with bigger, taller defensive backs are good. I don't have a problem with tall defensive backs. I just want to make sure they can run. And like Nick Emanware, that dude was super fast. Right. I mean, on the catapult, I mean, he was like one of the fastest guys on the team. What an absolute freak that guy was.
And Torian did coach Cam.
He did coach Cam Chancellor?
Yeah, Cam Chancellor, yeah.
Thanks, Phil. I feel like Joe Rogan. Hey, Jamie, pull up.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Jamie, pull up Cam Chancellor. Oh, man. And what a freak Cam Chancellor was. And then Jimmy Williams didn't really – he was another like 6'4", 6'5" corner at Virginia Tech, first rounder. I don't think he did much in the NFL. I think he was kind of a bust. But as long as they can run, I'm fine with bigger guys. But you got to – I would never sacrifice speed for height. I've seen that at receiver around here too often. If you have a big receiver that's not fast, he better be able to jump out the dang universe. Sidney Rice and Alshon Jeffrey would be examples of that. I mean, nobody was catching those guys in the open field, but they're not going to blow it up on the 40. I'd much rather have, 6'2" and a half guy that can run and all that good stuff. But yeah, like Xavier Legette. I mean, he's fast. He was a fast player,
Yeah.
Big freak. Debo Samuel, who's on the trading block, apparently. Fast. Kreger in the Nana Sports chat box talks about Donovan Murph being a problem. Yeah. So that's fast. We got sidetracked with recruiting. You can go listen to Coffee, and I'll break down all 5. And then we're going to get into more discussion about that this week, as there's more and more official visits for June being set at this point in time. So there's news out there, and it should be an exciting time for recruiting. And Clint agrees on Watkins. Assuming we get Watkins along with Currents, then Polo Anderson would be icing on the cake. Back to these win totals, though. South Carolina 6.5. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're usually they're usually wrong. I mean, they're over or under.
Has South Carolina outperformed the projected win total each year under Shane Beamer? Like, even when they went 5-7, I don't think they were picked to win that many games anyhow.
I think the over-under was 6.
Maybe it was. Maybe they did miss it. Yeah.
Pull that up, Phil.
Listen. Yeah, pull this up. Yeah, let's see.
It says JC recruiting is never a sidetrack. I know. But the win total, I'm not mad about that. I think 6.5 when you look at the schedule and you're trying to put it all out. I mean, I don't know that I would have Georgia 10.5 for Georgia seems like a lot.
Yeah.
And so, I just, 10 for Texas. I mean, I get it. Georgia has another tough schedule, though. I mean, think about the Dogs and who they're going to have to play next year. Because you go to Rocky Top. Ole Miss comes to Athens, not scared of you a bit because they beat you pretty bad in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
They go to Starkville. They got Florida. Alabama comes to Georgia, and they can't beat those guys.
No.
I mean, they have one win over them in the state of Indiana. But if the game is in the state of Georgia or in the state of Alabama, chances are they're losing. Auburn's going to be better, and Georgia has to go down there. And they got to play Georgia Tech at Mercedes-Benz at the end of the year, which Tech totally sold out and sent that game to Mercedes-Benz for money.
I know.
The athletic director sent an email. I read the email he sent out to the fans. It was on X. He almost apologized for it. He said, "Trust me, this is not going to happen pretty frequently, but we're making $10 million off of it."
Jeez, I know.
I mean, and dude, it's a neutral site at best. There's nothing they're going to be able to do about Georgia fans not taking over that stadium. Nothing.
No, yeah.
Georgia takes over Grant Field now. A couple of years ago when Tech was by God awful under Jeff Collins, like not even competitive, and the Georgia death machine comes marching in there. They took a shot with a drone over the top of it. I've covered that game before, way back in the day. When it's been at Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta. And Georgia Dogs will probably have about 40%, because the Tech season ticket holders, and that they do exist, they're in there. But, man, they had a drone shot. It was a sea of red and black in that game. And so Mercedes-Benz, you're adding 20,000 more seats, more tickets for Dog fans. I mean, dude, I hope the 10 million's worth it. But Georgia Tech is no longer a pushover, as we saw.
That's right.
And in fact, Brent Key, when it was in Atlanta last time, they were competitive against the Dogs. So Georgia at 10.5, to me, I just don't know. I think they're immensely talented. I think Kirby Smart has improved from year one to now more than any coach I've ever seen, just like his mentor, Nick Saban. People forget this. Nick Saban was a 500 ball coach at Michigan State and had one big year when he started preaching the process and hightailed it to LSU, where his legend was born.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But Saban took a while to figure it out. I mean, he wasn't always. I mean, they were, struggling to get to bowl games in East Lansing before his final year. And then he left like a thief in the night. And hired Kirby Smart, Will Muschamp, Derek Dooley, Jimbo Fisher, and that's when he kind of, I call it the Southern strategy, because he left a lot. His whole staff stayed at Michigan State, including Brad Lawing, who was on that staff, and Bobby Williams, his assistant head coach, took over. It's kind of crazy how things are connected, because that year, Phil, Michigan State played Florida in the Citrus Bowl, coached by the HBC, and with an interim coach, Michigan State beat Florida in the Citrus Bowl. Bob is one of those emotional bowl wins that got the guy the job.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And ended up, that's right. And
so, man, there you go. It's crazy how things are all connected from time to time. But it's just one of those things where I don't know. I have immense respect for Georgia. They're the one team that I think earned it this year.
Right.
They earned it. They all right. So things are not looking good. Tennessee's coming to town, wanting to take a piece out of our butts because we've dominated Josh Heupel. And what do? They just show up and beat Tennessee. Here comes Texas. They're rolling and ranked second, and we got them out there. But boy, they're going to be tough. And with a injury at quarterback and everything else. And at the end of that game, Georgia lined up and ran it up their bahunkuses and won the dang SEC.
Here's how we do it.
All right. I know they lost to Notre Dame. Fine. I know they're not as good as they were. Fine. But they earned it. Mm-hmm. I just don't know about 10.5 wins against that schedule. Texas, yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's going to be interesting. Like I don't know. They book in their season with 2 non-conference games too. So you open Marshall, Austin P, and they finish with Charlotte and Georgia Tech, which is crazy. So it's like you just run through this SEC gauntlet week in and week out. You better hope your bye weeks fall in that.
I hope they run it up. I hope they run it up on Marshall after the crap they pulled. And that's another program I used to have respect for.
Yes, right.
And I do. I love their fans. I love the movie with Matthew McConaughey. Tragedy that scares me to get on an airplane, you know. But nothing. I used to work for this guy. When I was in Georgia working in newspapers, I worked for this guy named Mickey. Best editor I've ever had. He was the general, like the executive editor. Vietnam vet, huge liberal, right? Like voted for. That was during the Bush and Kerry election. Just John, I really talk like this, JC. JC. I'm just terribly excited about this. My name's Mickey. Smoke like a chimney. Just a newspaper guy. Yeah, they don't make them like this guy anymore. Huge Marshall fan. Go Herd. I love Herd. Marshall, Huntington, West Virginia. Back JC. The Herd, man. The Herd. And then Gannett, who owns USA Today, they owned our paper. They sold it to this fly-by-night small town, like basically slave labor-ish, bad benefits.
Oh gosh,
cut everything and put ads on. I mean, this fly-by-night small town paper deal. And I left for Rivals.com. Thank the Lord in heaven, and the newspaper business in general. 6 months after Mickey left.
Yeah,
thank God. So, yeah, all right. So the chat box. Continue on in the second hour. Ole Miss, Tiffany. Let's talk about Ole Miss. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's take a look. What are they gonna look like?
Ole Miss for me.
That's right. Yeah, let me.
We'll talk about that because they're getting a new quarterback. They're on the schedule later this year. Carolina goes out to Oxford. In fact, did you know Ole Miss has a 99% admissions rate and rolling admissions? My stepson, he keeps
color me not shocked.
Getting letters from them, and he's about a 3.0, 3.2, 1,300 SAT. Can't get in anywhere, like not right now. And University of Illinois and places like that have very high in-state. So a lot of kids go. Like Ole Miss is straight down I-57 from Chicago through Memphis. Yeah, and so I looked up. I was like, well, can he get in? Obviously, you can with a driver's license.
Yeah, come on down.
99%, and there's no deadlines. It's like, hey, I go to school. What time's class start? What time can you be here?
Well, yeah, that's right.
Like that old Louis Gazard, he's talking about the Georgia Tech ticket office.
Yes.
But man, I'm like, wow. They're just letting anybody in at Ole Miss, which is fine. But we'll talk about Ole Miss later. I want to remind everybody about a great Gamecock. Summertime's coming. Maybe you want to fence in the backyard. I know I would be to keep the snakes out, right? If that can happen. But take advantage of the services of Ryan Brewer Fence, RyanBrewerFence.com. You can find him on social media. He's Ryan Brewer, a Gamecock legend. I got a chance to meet him this past summer for the first time in person. Tremendous guy. But what's important about Ryan Brewer Fence is they're going to do it right. They're going to do it right. Like we had somebody put in our fence, told us we didn't have to stain it. Oh, this is made out of some special wood. You don't have to stain it. And I'm like, are you sure we don't have to stain it? And then somebody else comes over. Oh, yeah, you better stain it. You got to get a permit for that because you got a permit for everything.
Oh, my God.
That's not going to happen to you at Ryan Brewer Fence. So go take advantage of his services if you're going to buy a fence in the Columbia area. It's not just about him being a great Gamecock. It's about the craftsmanship. Mike has told me the Morgs has spoken. And Krager, I agree. Brew doesn't like still play. He is a ripped individual.
Yes.
But Ryan Brewer Fence, proud sponsor inside the Gamecocks Show, which will roll on after these messages.
Mike here for my good friend Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. Let's face it, it's been a rough go for mortgage rates the last couple of years. And now more than ever, you need someone on your side to get you the very best possible rate on a new mortgage or a refi. That's where Troy comes in. 27 years of experience working for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, renovation, rehabilitation loans, all doable with my man Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. And when I say doable, I mean the best possible rate that's out there. It's a phone call that can literally save you thousands of dollars. 803-238-0111. 803-238-0111. You can also check out the website ggmortgage.com.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
When you bundle home and auto, good things can happen. You get a local agent who can help you choose the right coverage for you at a price that's right for you.
Call State Farm agent Tony Pope today.
Hey Gamecock Nation, my name is Kyle, longtime listener of the show and avid golfer. I wanted to take my game to the next level, but let's face it, golf is a hard game to learn on your own. I heard the ad from McKellar Enterprises and reached out to the owner and former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor. In just 2 months of working with Meredith, I shot my lowest round ever and I've never felt more confident in my golf game. So if you're looking to take your game to the next level, go to McKellarEnterprises.org and book your lessons today with former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor. Go Gamecocks.
Think about that old ride of yours. The carpools, the road trips, the heavy hauls, date nights, and the dings and the dents and the sticky spills and cracker crumbs, and that smell that really never goes away. Do you really want to start the new year in the same old ride? Or is it time for a fresh start? Now's the time for incredible New Year's savings at Love Chevrolet on the entire lineup of award-winning vehicles. Love has more new Chevys on the lot than any other dealer in the Midlands, in the color, style, features you've been looking for. With New Year's savings and Love's famous low price guarantee, your new ride in 25 will be invigorating, exhilarating, and affordable too. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 at Harbison, and online at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
When you bundle home and auto, good things can happen. You get a local agent who can help you choose the right coverage for you at a price that's right for you.
Call State Farm agent Tony Pope today.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. It is hour 2 inside the Gamecocks The Show. Phil Mullinax with you. JC Shurburtt over there. Looking at some early over-under totals set by our friends out in Vegas at the sports books here for the SEC.
Conference championship odds on the way, too. With us.
Yeah, man.
We've milked this topic for an hour.
That's right. We have. We've talked about it for an entire 10 minutes of the hour and 10 we've been on.
I say some things about basketball later, and it leads to a general broad discussion. Because this is my only venue where I can talk hoops unless I'm on the morning show, because I talk basketball one day on coffee. And coffee usually gets about, 1,000 to 1,500 views, sometimes more. That one got 400. Nobody, and podcast numbers were even worse.
Yeah.
I think they were like not even triple digits. I was like, I just turned it off.
Nobody wanted to hear any of that crap.
But I think coffee's really good for like granular football discussion. And I do mention everything else because, the scores and schedules and things like that. And I'll have brief comments about the other topics. And if there's something really big, I'll get into it. But I do want to talk a little hoops later. Bad weekend all the way around, though. Gamecocks. I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I'll go ahead and say it. I was listening to Derek's broadcast of the game. See, there I got. See, that sounds like remember the other day I said something about, I got to listen to Derek Scott, and it sounded rude. I just said, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I was listening to Derek and Casey.
Right.
Oh my God.
Can't help ourselves.
I'm embarrassed to say this part of it. I was on my way with the boys to meet the in-laws and the wife at the Golden Corral on Saturday. That's what was embarrassing. So I popped on Derek and Casey. It's like 1916, and nobody can hit it. Kentucky couldn't hit the ball outside the barn early. And then boom, three, turnover, 3, and that's just it. And it was so I tracked it while I was eating a delicious helping from the salad. I actually eat the salad part at Golden Corral. It's actually good. I don't trust everything else, but I'll get on that salad bar. Now the breakfast is different. Different.
Breakfast is where it really shines for us.
I think so. It's like Hardee's.
Right.
Yeah. If Hardee's would have been one of the best places in the world if they just said, because you know how they went through everything. They used to have a delicious chicken sandwich. It was better than Chick-fil-A's back in the day. And they got rid of it. They served roast beef for a while. They were fried chicken joint for a while. There's an El Polo Loco with some of them now, or they serve burritos in some of them.
Right. Yeah.
If Hardee's would have just closed at like 3:00 every day and served breakfast all day like Bojangles does.
Yes.
That would have been one of the great. If you want to do chicken too, fine, do chicken. And they got good burgers and stuff. That can be part of your menu for breakfast. Think outside of the box. Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
That's right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I was like, that would be so rad if they would just done that and stop trying to be all things to all people. We're going to talk. Hardee's was started in Spartanburg. The first one was right near a little bar called the New Way, which is still open. Pabst Blue Ribbon sign in Spartanburg. But, I mean, so I'm defensive of Hardee's, and Hardee's, like Golden Corral, has great breakfast, whatever. But anyway, I was on my way to Golden Corral listening to the game, and it was just sad in a lot of ways. So, so who knows with that. But so Tiffany in the Nana Sports chat box, let me go back before we go dig into team by team, Phil.
Yes.
And I will read the odds. Do you have those in front of you?
Yeah, I've got them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe you can read them because I'll have to look it up on my phone. And my mom, when she's watching and I'm looking at my phone, I get a nasty text message.
Okay. What are you're not paying attention.
Gee, you need to quit looking at your phone. It looks bad. Looks like you're not interested. My mom's the sweetest lady on earth, too. So for her to come for Marty to come after me like that,
right.
I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, but best odds, let's see. Obviously, Texas at plus 210, Georgia plus 390, Bama and Tennessee tied at plus 700, LSU Ole Miss tied at plus 1,000, A&M comes in at 1,600, and South Carolina rounds out the top 6 spots.
The basic teams that probably could contend.
Yeah.
So we don't want to lose a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Now,
Everybody else, because South Carolina's plus 1,800. After
and
that,
then there's a gap. Yeah.
You get long shots.
Read them
off.
dart.
Florida, 3,300. Auburn, 3,500. Missouri, 5,000. So Vegas not real high on what Missouri was able to turn around in the portal and recruiting class. Oklahoma, 6,500. Arkansas, plus 12,000.
12,000.
Here's the last 3 are so interesting when you really look at them. So Vanderbilt and Kentucky are tied at plus 30,000 odds. And then, of course, the old fighting Jeff Levy's down there at Mississippi State, plus 50,000. So if you want to make a quick buck on a long shot,
I'd put $1 on
you a buck. Yeah, that's right.
I'd put $1 on all of
you a
them.
buck.
Why not? I mean, who the hell knows? Mississippi State's got 51 new players. How do we know?
Yeah. What do we?
I'm assuming they're not going to be that good. They have a ridiculous. Somebody in the chat box pointed out they have a ridiculous schedule.
Yes.
Ridiculous
Yeah,
schedule
right.
for next year. Brad Crawford, bless his heart. I would never write anything like this. I have to say this takes kahunas. Where you project every game, every win and loss for every SEC team next year. I just would not put myself out there like that. I'm sorry.
No.
So what he predicts them to go 1-7, but you've got they play at Southern Miss. That's a huge mistake. Southern Miss hired the Marshall coach away, by the way. That's why Marshall punked out of the Independence Bowl, because all the players left. Coach Huff went to Southern Miss. Arizona State comes to Starkville. Oh, God. Alcorn State should be a win. Beware of Northern Illinois, because Toledo cut the Bulldogs in Starkville last year. They play Tennessee at home, Phil, Texas at home, Georgia at home, and Ole Miss at home. They go to A&M. They go to Florida, to Arkansas, and to Mizzou. No rest for the weary for Jeff Levy and his team.
Man.
Although something does tell me they'll probably be better. I thought they never gave up this year. I mean, you saw them in the Ole Miss game, last game of the season. Against Georgia, they fought really hard. I mean, they just weren't very good. I mean, they weren't good enough. It's kind of like South. I hate to say it. Well, I mean, they didn't play as many close games as the Gamecock basketball team, but it's kind of like that situation. They took Arizona State to the 7-point game early in there. That's before the Sun Devils got rolling.
You got to figure, is Scattaboo coming back, or no? He went to the draft, didn't he?
I don't know. I think so. I think he's gone.
I think he is.
Oh, he's a JUCO though, Phil. Like,
did he get a year?
I don't know. Yeah, pull that up.
Yeah, that's right. Pull that up.
Is back.
Scatterbo
is back. Cam Scatterbo. So, anyway, Bruin Nation with a Hardee's hot take from the Nana Sports chat box. Sausage gravy on a Frisco burger sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I mean,
no, it's not. Something about that sourdough bread with gravy on it would be good.
That's not bad, some Frisco burger with sausage gravy. Bobby says he will smash on Golden Corral. Queen of the Cocks, Hardee's biscuit and gravy is awesome. Bobby, Hardee's had a great peach milkshake. Indeed, they did. The Chick-fil-A peach milkshakes, according to my oldest, loves milkshakes and loves banana pudding. So when Chick-fil-A has the banana pudding milkshake, I don't even ask. I just buy one for him, because you can't get good banana pudding around here. And you love milkshakes, you love banana pudding, you're going to love a banana pudding milkshake. So I get it for them every single time when they have it. And then I get a little testy. When they decide to discontinue, a little bit testy, not real, I went to Chick-fil-A the other day and they didn't say my pleasure.
Oh no! Somebody needs retrain. You should call the franchisee.
Imagine if I was so petty that I sent like a nasty Karen email to Chick-fil-A because they didn't say my pleasure. Nothing wrong with my order. Came out quickly, on time, got all my sauces. But no, Clint, it was the girl that was she told me she was a manager trainer and taking the order with the iPad, did not say my pleasure. And then the kid at the drive-thru that handed me my food did not say my pleasure. So it was a double whammy.
Wow.
No, my pleasure. I was like, I'm just not used to this.
No, something's off.
But I thought it would be both hilarious and petty and could result in a free chicken sandwich if I sent a nasty email. I did not. But I thought, boy, that would be funny if somebody did that.
I promise you would not have been the first.
I was not told my pleasure when they both took my order. And this girl said she was a trainer. And I hope you're not training people to not say my pleasure anymore.
Yeah, I might as well go to, what do you have up there? Raising Cane's.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Raising Cane's is living off sauce.
I was going to say Zach's.
They're living off sauce.
They're living off sauce.
It's all sauce. And the sauce is good, but it's just not my again, stepkids love Raising Cane's. The Caniac combo. They order 2 entrees. Sometimes they're like, Oh, the cognac combo and a sandwich.
Yeah,
Yes. They love psychotically love Raising Cane's. It's not bad.
No, I do that at Chick-fil-A though. Like I'll admit it. That's where I'll go straight big back to use the parlance of our time. Is like, because I'll get the chicken burger with chicken sandwich. We call it chicken burger. I get chicken burger with no pickles and a 12-piece.
No pickles.
All the honey mustard you can give me.
Oh man, we had a little song on our intro back from the tailgate show. We always talk food on the tailgate show, but if you want to go to for a tailgate party that you know everybody's going to eat the crap out of it and it's going to be gone,
yes,
go Chick-fil-A nugget tray every single time. Yeah. That is my staple. Chick-fil-A nugget tray every single freaking time, Phil. It's money. It's so money it hurts. Everybody loves it.
It hurts.
I tell you what, I had a friend, big Tennessee fan, is my neighbor in Greenville. We watched ball together, and he's a big Tennessee fan. His brother's an Auburn fan, and so we went over to his brother's for their tailgate party one day, and I caught some of the Tennessee game, and then went and watched the Gamecocks play. I think A&M with my buddy over in Reedville. Those were fun days. But his last name's David. His name's McDonald, right? And so for the tailgate party, he gets 20 McDonald's cheeseburgers and just puts them out there. And so we go out and pick this up, and I'm like, I just don't know about this, man. And people, they're gone. Like everybody's got fancy dip and salsa and chips and souffle and ham biscuits and carving station. McDonald's cheeseburgers gone.
Yep.
Hell, I had a couple myself.
Right.
It's kind of delicious. I mean,
I'm not big on pretense at a tailgate. I don't need all. I'm not real high on pretense at a tailgate. Listen, don't tell me how much you slaved in the kitchen to make this, whatever it is. Where's the chicken? Did you bring anything fast? Where's the fast food?
Pretense on a tailgate, and that's a good segue, Phil, because Tiffany from the Nana Sports Chat Box talks about
right. Ole Miss. You want to talk about pretense at a tailgate?
Yeah,
come on
what
down
do we
to
really expect of Ole Miss? They will be good, but they top SEC good. I don't know. I mean, at some point, South Carolina's got to win a football game against Lane Kiffin. They're 0-3. None of them have been close. And there's been some real – the game out there in 2020, Muschamp's last game, Carolina was actually up before they just decided to stop playing defense altogether. That was a weird game. The game, Garcia's first full-time year starting in 2009, up there in the rain. I went to that one. I've never been so miserable in my life. That was when part of I-40 was closed. So we had to go down 26 to Johnson City and then come back down. That was a long drive. And it was raining and it was cold. And they had those black uniforms on. And Jonathan Crompton shredded the Gamecocks. It was embarrassing. Yeah. And that Tennessee team finished 7-6. I mean, it wasn't that great. It would have been really good under Lane had he stayed. And then this year. So South Carolina has just not had much luck with Kiffin, and they got to beat him. They beat him sometime. But I do think that, you lose a Jackson Dart, you lose a Walter Nolan. Now, they do have players back. They didn't just have a big old group of portal players that were there for 1 year. They got some were multiple years. So, how good are they going to be? Brad Crawford has them 9-3 and has them beating the Gamecocks. They're scheduling at Georgia State, at Kentucky, Arkansas, Tulane, LSU at home. They play Washington State. All Washington State's players left. Yeah. Washington State replaced Wake Forest because Wake Forest punked out of the game like after they played.
They're like, nah, we're good next year.
At Georgia, at Oklahoma, South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida Gators, and then at Mississippi State. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Brad's got Texas A&M going 6-6.
Ooh. That's tough. Man, what a
bit, but beating the Gamecocks. By the way, he's got the Gamecocks losing at home to Oklahoma and then losing at LSU, at A&M, and at Ole Miss. LSU is going to be a tall task. A&M is another play. I mean, you're talking about 200,000 seat stadiums that are the loudest. I mean, a lot of teams struggle there. But as for Ole Miss, Phil, I mean, I look at, they got the quarterback who's also a baseball player that they really like. They did not go into the portal to get a player.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look up here. Their recruiting classes and their roster. So, yeah, this is one. He's been there, what? Is he a sophomore?
Yeah, I think he's a rising sophomore. I'm looking at their depth chart. There's a site called ourlads.com that pulls up.
Our Lads.
It's a good guess as to the depth charts of the year. They got the kid from Penn State, Harrison Wallace, coming in. Caleb Cunningham, I think, is a special player at receiver as a freshman that will be good. Caden Lee is back for them. No more Juice Wells, no more Trey Harris. No more Jordan Watkins. They got the tight end from Arkansas. They got the offensive guard. They raided Arkansas's roster. Defensively, Deshaun Womack is a player they brought in. They brought in another guy named Prince Umanalalan from, I think he came from Nebraska. Santarine Perkins is back as well. He is a really good player for them. Kind of their pass rusher. They're rebuilding the secondary because Amos is gone. I don't know. I mean, I kind of thought 2 years ago, because Lane's been winning at Ole Miss pretty consistently. And I thought, well, at some point, they're probably going to take a dip. But I don't know. Will it be this year? I don't know. I certainly think they're probably not going to be as good defensively as they were this past year. And that was kind of the secret sauce for them.
Right.
Because in games where the offense was misfiring, and there were some, that defense kept them rocking and rolling. I mean, think about what they did to South Carolina. Think about what they did to Georgia. I mean, when that defense was a high-end defense for the Rebels this year. And that's been the difference. That's where they've kind of been sort of iffy. So defensively, if they can keep it up, maybe they can win. But he hasn't. Kiffin really hadn't had a down year in Oxford. I mean, he's gone. They went 5-5 his first season. That was the pandemic year, but 5 SEC wins is pretty well. 4 SEC wins is pretty stellar.
Yeah, I mean, they're not one of the top programs, if you will, in the SEC. So I mean, he really has done well.
Yeah, the worst year was 2022 when they lost to Texas Tech in the Texas Bowl and went 8-5, 4-4 in the league. Other than that, 4 SEC wins, 6 dipped back to 4, then he won 6, and then he won 5 this year, and they were in the playoff hunt. So 44-18. As a head coach, Lane Kiffin is 105-52. That's a pretty good record for a guy that got fired by SC and had a losing record at Florida Atlantic one year, and
you're what, 67, 70% win?
Yeah.
Like that. I mean,
that's not bad. So looking at Ole Miss, I would think now what they have for their over under win total.
Let's see.
Now
I
look that up.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have that
in front of me.
I don't, because I didn't write all of them down.
Let's see.
I don't think. Yeah, they're plus 1,000 as far as winning the league.
Yeah,
as far as the odds go. So somebody thinks they're good, but I mean, they've got some challenges. I mean, Florida, I think Florida's going to be better next year, in my opinion. Do they play Auburn? They do play Auburn.
Ole Miss, I don't know.
Do they play Auburn this year?
I don't think they did last year.
No, they don't.
No, they do not.
No, they don't. They do not play War Eagle.
No.
They got Kentucky, Arkansas, LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Carolina, Florida,
Mississippi State. Yeah.
So, we'll see. Austin Simmons is their starting quarterback. Like I said, they like him a lot. I think he's a really good player. I expect him to put up numbers in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can be quite as good at receiver, I don't know if they can be as good at running back. They were very deep at running back. It was Parrish and a couple other guys. I don't know if their defense is going to be as good, but I don't know that they're not. I mean, they have a lot of they have 40 new players coming in. So.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows? It's just an adventure all the time. But there are some unknowns there. I think going out there later in the year, you're going to know who Ole Miss is by the time that road trip happens. And it's a fun road trip. I went out in 08, stayed in Tunica, me and Wild Bill Gunner from 107.5. He was working with the Big Spur at the time, and my friend, the late great John Manning Vhorn, got on a roll at the craps table at the casino. It was epic. Yeah, it was epic. The Friday before the game.
I love that. You got to love that. That'd be fun.
Kreger says Princely came from Florida. This is another Princely. Phil looked that up.
Yeah, because this is Prince Will, not because I know
Prince Will, not Princely. I got confused too.
Yeah.
Princely came from Florida to Ole Miss last year.
Yeah, and Prince Will is I just had it. Damn it, that's what I get for clicking away. To answer the question, the Queen of the Cocks in the chat. He's coming from Nebraska.
Yeah, he's the Nebraska kid.
Yeah,
I got him confused too. I'm like, surely there's another Prince coming, and and then I started
from Manor, Texas.
And I started in my mind, you don't have to be rich to be my girl. Don't have to be cruel to rule my world. And I was like,
yes.
Anyway, Kreger, I think Pegues is gone.
I think so too.
Yeah,
he's not
dude, that guy.
Yeah, please.
Sick.
Between him and Nolan, you just want them all. Just y'all listen.
Nolan
go on into the NFL, y'all.
I see like Walter Nolan projected at the end of the first round of the draft. I'm like, what are you people thinking?
I know.
I mean, why would you not?
And they keep talking about the incredible depth at edge, and when I see these projections, I'm like, the guys that are contributing to this incredible depth at edge, you've got behind a couple of other guys that are supporting it from underneath, in my opinion.
I'm like, this is just, it's crazy. But but Queen of the Cocks joining us in the Nana Sports chat box from the Show Me State of Missouri. Always appreciate the contributions. And yes, that was the must-champ game, was the clipboard game where Kiffin just tossed it in the air because the guy was wide open. South Carolina had 3 NFL players on the field in the secondary.
Yeah.
3.
And he's just wide open.
Kevin, Ole Miss couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop Kevin Harris. They couldn't stop Colin Hill.
No.
Colin Hill was 18 for 20 in that one.
Right.
I mean,
golly.
Good Lord. Clint says he really wanted the Cunningham kid. You and I both, Clint. You and I both. But he was committed to Alabama and then decided to stay home.
No.
So, Clint says chicken minis at Chick-fil-A are nice. I would agree with you, fine sir.
I don't like the Chick-fil-A biscuit. I just don't like it.
Just not a fan, huh?
Not my thing. Yeah, I don't know.
It's acceptable fare for me.
Yeah,
I don't like it as well
as
Hardee's or Bojangles.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's better than McDonald's biscuit.
McDonald's bottom of the barrel. If I go McDonald's, I'll get the McGriddle or the steak bagel.
I'm a sausage and egg McMuffin guy.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm McMuffins. Yeah.
Strong. All right, so inside the Gamecocks, the show will roll on after these messages. You've heard me talk about the Nana Sports chat box. If you love pimento cheese, warm weather's coming, Masters time, a little Masters watch party. You want to get some of this Nana Sports pimento cheese. Phil will be along with some links in the chat box for those of you that want to get online and buy pimento cheese from Nana Sports. Trust me, everyone's had it. Everyone's talking about it. Some say it's the best pimento cheese ever. I mean, seriously, I'm going to give it the full endorsement. Chris is such a great guy and a great Gamecock as well. He's helped me out catering events and things like that. So the catering service is outstanding as well. Nanasports.com. Check them out. Proud sponsors of all our rowdy friends here in the chat box. Final break. Just keeps zipping on by. That's good because I'm due for a nap, Phil.
That's right.
Inside the Gamecocks The Show. Rolls on.
Hey, this is Cornbread Cowboy,
and you're listening to the show. We'll be right back.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more. Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products and out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks! Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say, and so does nationally recognized the Barndominium Company, where they are building dream homes in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Their turnkey process can be custom designed and takes 6 months on average. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. thebarndominiumco.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Inside the Gamecocks, the show. JC and Phil in with you. Final segment for the day, which has been rolling right along for everybody today. Been great. What a good
I'm
way
loving
to kick the
Clint's
week off.
Chick-fil-A strategies off the chain. Kreger, leave it to Kreger. I tell the Chick-fil-A employees to have a nice day, so they can't say my pleasure. I love it.
That's awesome, Craig. I can see that too. It's like, yes, all right.
Oh,
well, have a nice day. My pleasure.
Queen of the Cox thinks Cam Scatterby should go to the draft.
Everything I've seen indicates that he is moving on up.
Moving on up.
Moving on up. Yeah, he's actually got, draft worthy grades from what I can see.
He's good. He's
going
to be
from
a really really good NFL running back, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Won't get drafted third round, fourth round.
No, right. He's not going. That first contract's make him a ton of money.
I just love the way he plays, Phil. There's just something about like running with just the desire that he does. I mean, not that like Saquon Barkley doesn't run with great desire and purpose and all that, but just Scatterby is just like the style is really something. I think just won't be denied. Love the way he plays the game, but love a lot of running backs. Ashton Genty, I thought, was pretty good running back this year as well. Obviously was number 2 in the Heisman from Boise State. Kind of question who he's running against a lot of the time.
We'll see how that translates. But he should be good. I mean,
Yeah, we'll see. No, I think it's weird with running backs. I was I was making a remark about this the other day on the Big Spur, because when I evaluate high school running backs, you don't always say that, you don't always take level of competition in high school can sometimes be overrated. Unless you're like in a different level of league with limited athletes and things like that, some private school leagues, things like that. I'm not coming down on Skeeza, not hating on Skeeza. But we saw Boogie and Jordan Birch both. It took them a little time. It'll take Mike Tyler a little time. It'll take the kid that's going to Florida at cornerback from Heathwood Hall a little time. Not a lot of time, but a little time, right? But but running backs can really get you in trouble, Phil, because you'll see a guy and he may be in a league. Like, I remember the first time I saw Royce Freeman running the ball. He's from a place I think called Imperial, California. It's 20 miles from the border, from Mexicali.
Oh,
in central Southern California. So that's not like Orange County, where there's great high school football. I mean, he's not playing against much. But then we saw Royce time at Nike that summer, 4.45 at 6'2", 220. So obviously, and he went on to have a great career at Oregon and got drafted or whatnot. He's a 5-star guy. Same with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb played at Cedartown, which I'm familiar with that league. I mean, it used to be 3A. I don't know what it is in Georgia now, 5A or so. It's not the largest, but they play Carrollton, Central Carrollton, places like that. And that's good competition. But we saw the 40 time. So you want to verify with running backs, and level of competition does matter when you're evaluating. I mean, I always stuck to that. Now we're in a world where Schrader from Truman State led the SEC in rushing at Missouri. Right. Missouri's got an absolutely terrifying running back named Ahmad Hardy coming in from Louisiana Monroe. Right. Really good. You South Carolina, Mario Anderson from D2 Newberry rushed for 800 and something yards with no offensive line. And then goes to Memphis and puts up 1,000. So when you're talking about like the transfer portal, my rule of thumb would have been, well, at running back, you got to be careful. Obviously not.
Yeah, just
obviously
grab one.
not, dude. I mean, and people ask me about Faison, big difference running in the SEC versus the Mountain West. And I'm down with that. It was one thing I would normally look at, but since the portals come online, we've been shown, quite frankly, that it doesn't matter. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs pretty good at Alabama, right? In the SEC, came from the ACC, Georgia Tech, and still put up numbers at Bama. So I don't know, that's a little bit different than coming from D2, obviously, or FCS. But so I don't know that holds with running backs for the transfer portal, but I always would, look at the, I'd want to know 40 times, track times, all that on a running back, just because the film can be very deceptive, very deceptive. So that's the deal there. But this if I can get it on my app, I may put a couple of $2.50 on Mississippi State to win the SEC next year.
Oh, maybe why not?
Yeah.
My goodness, 250 would get you what?
I'd have to. What is that? American odds. I gotta.
Yeah.
I'd have to see what that translates to. Betting odds. Sports translator. Look that up, Phil. My Googler is not working.
Odds.
It's just not working. Calculator and converter. Here we go. So,
yeah, 250. Yeah, 250 times.
All right, so American odds would be plus 50,000. 250 would win me $1,250.
Yeah, $1,250.
Well, let's say I put 20. Let's just put a quarter on it. $25. 12,525.
Yeah, 12,500.
What if I bet a Hyundai? 50 grand. No, 250 here. 250. $250. $100,000 for Mississippi State to win the
crazy
championship. Krieger has an observation on Rasul Faison, the transfer portal running back that South Carolina's brought in. They're very excited about him. Rushed for 1,000 yards at Utah State. He says Faison runs like a bigger Juju McDowell. That's interesting. I can kind of see that, Craig, with the shoulder wiggle. Is that a thing? Shoulder wiggle?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So I could see that with the way he kind of jukes his shoulders and stuff. I like him. He's Corey Boyd to me, but not as physical.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah,
Not many
yeah.
backs are as physical as Corey Boyd was. I mean, Corey would run you over and take your head off. He was a ridiculous individual to tackle, I think.
Yes.
I mean, I would just not, didn't want to tackle him, didn't want to tackle Danny Ware from Georgia, didn't want to tackle Thomas Brown when Thomas Brown was a little ball of hate when he ran the ball. Like 5'9", 200 rocked up dude, low center of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get leverage? And I mean, those guys are, because you end up getting too high and they end up putting their helmet in your sternum and running you the hell over.
Right. Yeah.
You got to get low. You got to die. You got to get low.
Mm-hmm.
I hated guys like that when I played. It was just ridiculous. But I could see it. I hope he's as elusive as Juju. And obviously he's bigger. Listed at 200 on his visit, or I don't know where the 5'11", 200 came from. My understanding is he's 215, 220, and not because 200, that's a little light, you know?
Yeah, for that.
For a running back. Yeah, probably 210 to 220 would be good. Jawarn Howell, 6'1", 217.
Yeah.
He's a big kid. I mean, he's a big back. He's not as big as Rocket Sanders. Everybody's like, how do you replace Rocket Sanders? You don't.
Yeah, you don't. You do your best.
There's not. And I'm not saying they can't replace the production and they can't have a good run game. And it's just Rocket's one of those rare guys. He's rare. There's not a players floating around like that, you know, that are that big, that fast, and they can catch the ball that well out of the backfield. And they can run patiently and break away with his speed, or also can run for power and run through you and over you. And he did that several times this year. So,
right. Yeah.
I am thankful for Rocket Sanders.
Indeed.
And hope he hope he does the best. All right. So Phil, I got that stuff. This is a little gross, but
okay.
I think it's okay for some toilet humor.
Sure. Why not?
Have you ever just done something and you didn't mean to do it and you feel really bad?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So last night,
often when I thought it was funny too, and then I feel extra bad because I was like, oh,
I had to go to the bathroom.
Nobody thought that was funny, right?
I had to go. I go number 2, right, at the bar, and it's a you know, when you're doing that, you know, it's a 2-head bathroom, but it's a 1-head when you're taking care of business,
right?
And I did it sort of early, so there wasn't a line, but so I did it and got done with my business, and then there's a semi-regular gentleman that comes in there that's blind, and he walks in right after me. And I gotten up and said, I feel sorry for whoever comes in here next. And I looked and I'm like, oh man. And so I think people that don't, unfortunately have lost their sight, don't they have extra sensory, like they smell really good?
So sometimes their other senses will be a bit more heightened, right? Yeah. I
felt so bad. I was like, I got back, I was like, I feel terrible. I mean, you know, normally you go and do that, you're feeling relief, good, positive, lighter, happy, and all my joy just got sucked out of me as this poor blind guy came in. But he's a nice guy. I've talked to him. Really
smells like Golden Corral.
Yeah, probably the Golden Corral. That's probably about the time that was cycling on through the bowels. Gross. Krager goes 9 coiler. All right, I don't want to. All right, no more toilet humor here on a Monday on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Don't forget, if you haven't listened to Coffee, you can catch that on our podcast stream. Please go rate our Inside the Gamecocks podcast stream. It's called Inside the Gamecocks. It's basically a one-stop shop. You know, you get this show, you get Coffee, you get the morning show, you get the walkthrough with Joe Machika, you get the late night Gamecock show, and then you get specials. Like, remember the after school specials?
That's right.
You get the specials. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's not. We had a great, if you missed it, a great interview. You want to get into basketball with Aaron Lucas on the late night Gamecock show this week.
That was fun.
There's that's up on our, so go rate us 5 stars and talk good about Phil and I. all that good stuff. Don't mention the toilet humor though; that would be bad.
Yeah,
Anyway, and that's on Apple, Spotify, Audible, through Amazon. If you have like Alexa, and you want to pull us up, it would come through Audible. But anyway, check that out. Also subscribe and like to our YouTube page. I shouldn't have said Alexa, Phil.
I know. There she is.
There she
hey,
is.
Alexa, play ITG.
Play ITG. Oh my God. She's responding to you, Phil. But no. So check all that out. Coffee will be back in the morning, all that good stuff. Interviews today. You said Debbie Antonelli morning show.
Yeah, Debbie Antonelli. She had some
all things.
Good thoughts on women's
was
basketball.
The Morgues on today with
it was. It was Manic Monday with Morgan.
Happy birthday to Mike's wife, Summer.
I saw that. It is Summer's birthday. Happy birthday,
Summer Morgan. Looking forward to catching up with Mike later this week. But yeah, I don't know. This Mississippi State odds were bad. What's interesting to me about these odds, though, Phil, a couple of things stood out. Florida and Auburn. There's some folks that have these two teams in the top 10.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially Florida. I think, and not knowing exactly where these came from. I guess I don't know who's putting.
It was on Vegas
early.
Insider, so like one of the offshore Bet US or something. I think.
Yeah. But there's a lot baked into that. It's like, how good is Lagway going to ultimately be? Can Napier continue to develop a defense that can stop people consistently enough to give them a chance to win? I mean, the thing is, the schedule doesn't get any easier for them. It just flips, which is one of the dumbest moves I think I've ever seen come out of Birmingham. But
it's crazy. I mean,
it's so stupid the way they did that. But hey, what do you expect? I don't know. Might be a little long for Auburn.
They just threw the damn thing together. I mean, it was like,
it was zero thought. It was like, okay, these teams haven't played. Half of them need to play Oklahoma. Half of them need to play Texas, and then we'll just flip it for the next year.
They did this first.
It's ridiculous. I know, and it's probably done thinking it's only going to be a couple of years, maybe anyway, and then perhaps that 9 game is going to come in with pressure from your friends at Disney.
I don't see any way they go to after this season.
Not in this. No, not in this. Not until the playoff changes.
Yeah, I don't see any way
they'd be damn foolish to do it.
Now, I do think this Big Ten SEC challenge thing may happen. By the way, I wrote an article fleshing out my bowl ideas on the Big Spur on Sunday. It's a free article, so even if you're not a member, go check it out. But one of the things I said was, Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey, the commissioners of the leagues, they met in Nashville in October. And one of the topics was bowl matchups. And I'm like, I cannot think of a worse idea than having more Big Ten SEC bowl matchups. I mean, these have been going on for like 40 years. Give something new. I mean, the Big 12 teams it's exciting to go play Texas Tech or TCU or Arizona State. It's not exciting to play Iowa or Michigan State or whoever over and over again. I'm just not a fan of it. I think doing that during the regular season would be fun. And I'll give this to the Big Ten too. As far as bowls go, there are other schools that would be. UCLA is now Big Ten, for example.
Yes.
Southern Cal, Washington, Oregon. Those would be kind of cool matchups with the SEC. But man, I saw that. I was like, that can't happen.
No.
But yeah. So I wrote that about fixing the bowls, but the SEC, you mentioned the way they did the schedule. They kind of threw it together last time too, and it was costly for the Gamecocks in 2012 because instead of I don't think they were scheduled to play LSU originally, and then they ended up moving Florida back, and you had that 3-game stretch: Georgia at home, at LSU, at Florida, back to back. So it was just. Man, I don't know. I don't know why they kind of slice it all, put it all together, and things like that.
One would hope they put just a tiny bit more thought into it for 27 or 26, rather 26.
Yeah.
Because nothing's been released yet. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe maybe that'll be one of the big drops from SEC Media Days this year. Is like, hey, here's what we're gonna do.
Nice to see a plan come together.
Yeah, right.
If they stay at 8 games and stay with the idea of, because what they did a lot of rivalry protecting this time around, and that's fine. But if they go to the only way to rotate it and get everybody to play everybody within a 4-year period is to go 1-7.
Yep.
So in other words, you're going to have one permanent opponent, and then 7 and 7, and then 7 and 7. That's a drink, isn't it? 7 and 7.
7 and 7.
That's a 7 and 7.
It's a little early.
I'm like, I think
a little lunch in me.
That wasn't even in my liquor drinking days. That wasn't on the list.
No, never a secret 7 and 7 up
guy.
No.
Not a big fan. That's kind of like my parents' generation. They like,
right.
That's not.
That was my father-in-law's go-to. Back in his day, you know.
Yeah, 7 and 7. Old Carl. I'm just kidding. I hope Dina's not watching.
No.
I joke with Phil's wife sometimes. I'm intentionally like call her Dad Carl instead of Larry, and I just do it to annoy her. Carl. It's not Carl. Anyway, but so so it goes 7 and 7. South Carolina by default almost would have Kentucky as their permanent opponent because
I mean that was the assumption, right?
Well, if you sketch it out, after Tennessee has had to play Alabama every year, through all the last 17 years, they're going to demand that their precious in-state rivalry with Vanderbilt's preserved at all costs. So they're going to play. So that takes Kentucky's border war with Tennessee out of it. You know, Florida is going to play Florida, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma. Those are big ticket games. They'll be played every year.
But then you get, Georgia not playing Auburn is going to rattle some cages there in the world's oldest, high school or college football rivalry or whatever.
The big one is Texas won't be playing Texas A&M every year.
Yep, and that is going to be right back where
the pettiness of that rivalry.
I know. I was so happy to see that game played this year. I know it.
Me too.
I mean, but it should be. It's like you're losing that flavor, right?
It is, yeah. It's it would have been a bigger game than people thought. And A&M kind of, they lost the Auburn game late, and they still would have gone to Atlanta had they beaten Texas.
Yeah, they just needed a win. They were right there.
Poor Aggies, 8-5.
Well, that really would have changed the landscape of the playoffs.
By the way, their over/under win total, I believe, is 8. I love it. That's exactly what it should be every year.
Every year, yeah, perpetually 8.
Every. Julie says 7-Up needs to put lithium back in the recipe.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Take that. I think we're taking chemicals out of things. I think that's going to be the new trend now, right?
Either that, or we could throw them back to their purest form. And you put, lithium back in 7-Up, the cocaine back in Coke. Yeah, I mean, let's go.
Hey, as long as I can get the sugar-free Coke Zero with the cocaine in it, I'm good.
That's right.
just make sure you got a Coke Zero with the extra Coke. Thanks, that's fine. But so that's crazy. But so they're not as high on Auburn. Brad's got them going 9-3. Auburn's plus 3,500. Florida's plus 3,300. I think you're onto something. Auburn did have a difficult schedule last year. I mean, they played Missouri, they played Oklahoma, they played Georgia, they played Alabama. They played the kill zone, Vanderbilt. Yeah. So maybe it is the schedule. Oklahoma's plus 6,500. Man, Arkansas. What's going to happen there, man? I don't
know. I figured there'd be, even with the season they had, a little bit of shakeup there,
Yeah.
I was not seeing the pit boss being retained even after what they did. I mean, I guess you kind of, I don't know, you got to bank on the fact that maybe we got a winning recipe. I don't know, but
They won their bowl game, didn't they?
I
think they did.
want to say they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7-6 is how they finished, and they were 500 at the end of the year. So yes, they did win their bowl game.
And man, it was looking auspicious. I mean, they upset Tennessee because they lost to Oklahoma State early, and Oklahoma State ended up, the bottom fell out there on Gundy.
Yeah.
They were
yeah.
last place in their league. I mean, they were just not good at all. But and in that game, Arkansas had it won, and Okie State came back and rallied for the victory in overtime and covered. I won a little money that day. That was right before South Carolina played Kentucky.
Yep.
And coming off Old Dominion, and that was during the ESPN issues, so we didn't go to the tavern. I was outside, have a nice little tent,
right?
And it was 67 degrees here, sunny with a slight breeze. I stayed out there all day, Phil.
Oh, I would have done the same.
Nervous as all get out about that Kentucky game, though.
Yes,
and then so happy after the Gamecocks looked dominant and beat the Wildcats.
Yes.
In Lexington yet again. So that's something. Julie points out in Nana Sports Chat Box, Rocket taught the team work ethic and waiting for the blocking to opening up. Amen.
Yeah.
I love Rocket Sanders, man. That guy, he just came in, got to work, and made something of himself and helped the team win. Yeah. And I mean, you think about, Phil, that Texas A&M to Missouri stretch, Vandy game included. Rocket Sanders that was a great stretch for him.
Yeah, he was key to a couple, 3 of those wins.
A&M couldn't do anything with him.
No,
that was just one of those nights, man. He was just.
I mean, he was given a close to the line outlet for Sellers on top of having one of the best stretches I think for his running game there was. I mean, they were using him as a anything they could, a weapon. That's all it was.
He wish he gotten 1,000 yards.
I know, man.
Without that Akron ankle, man, early in that game.
Yep.
Because if he stays in that game, he probably doesn't get 10 carries, but he could have gotten 100 that night.
Oh yeah, on
and then
10.
I would have imagined he would have had more than 9 carries against Ole Miss in that game when he was coming off the injury, and probably would have done a little more damage in that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, just
injuries were not as bad this year as 2023, but they did creep up at inopportune times. They ended up being costly.
They had an impact on the season. One could argue, it really
just
did
because of when they happened.
Yep.
It was unfortunate, and then the whole receiver room was there was nothing serious, but it was like nagging stuff that caused guys to miss time.
Yeah, and it was like we'd never had the same guys available every week. It seemed like because somebody was just dealing with, he's got a lingering shoulder. He's got a
So anyway, we got to get out of here, Phil.
Yeah, man, it is.
Thanks
time.
It's flew by today. I'll save some of these topics for tomorrow. Like I always do.
Imagine that.
That's good. Great to talk a little football with all you fine folks in the Nana Sports Chat Box. Also, again, don't forget coffee, the morning show tomorrow. Don't forget, we are proudly sponsored by Palm Casual for furniture, and then Gamecock Traditions, home of the beat sticker. We've known those things our whole lives, folks. Support those who support the beat sticker, the original beat stickers. Used to be called Jewelry Warehouse back in the day. Remember Jewelry Warehouse?
Yeah, we still got was it the Lexington location?
Yeah, Lexington location online. Support those guys. We love them. We also love D's Wings in West Columbia. I think that's about it. Download the app. All that. Stephanie says we need an SEC Big 12 kickoff weekend. I think the SEC needs to merge with the Big 12 and create an AFC or NFC and tell the ACC and Big 10 to go jump in a hole. We'll see you in the college football Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. Go try to figure that out on your own.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, get us out, bud.
All right. That's right. That's it for Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Don't forget tomorrow, JB cranks things up early at 10 o'clock in the morning. I know Alex Jones will be in there. I'll more than likely pop in for a segment or two tomorrow with JB. JC and I will be back here tomorrow at noon. Fire up your lunch hour. And of course, we got the walkthrough tomorrow night. Joe Machika talking about women's basketball coming off of a tough loss. Coming off a tough loss at Texas. Some great thoughts on that on today's morning show from Debbie Antonelli, who gives a very honest and real opinion about the state of women's basketball at the top this season, as well as the influence of NIL in not only women's basketball, but also men's. A lot of people not happy about that. I know we talk about it under the lens of football a lot, but from a basketball perspective, it looks like it is even more troublesome with the pay-for-play era that hopefully is about to find its way to some sort of an end. We'll see how that shakes out. But as for us, Mad Dog, JC, appreciate everybody being in with us on a Monday to kick off your week, and we will see you all again tomorrow at noon.